First, I just wanted to say thank you a whole lot. I appreciate if you're watching this. I hope it helps you. I hope it gives you a place to start and look and get information. If you have any questions, you want further information, or if you have a question that's particular to you, please write. I will try to respond to you personally, and I'll also try to respond to you in video if it fits in, or if I can get it to fit in with the things that I'm doing in my video, because this is all about y'all. I want you to get something out of it. Just like in a regular therapy session, I'm going to sit down, and one of the first things I'm going to ask you is, what are your goals? What do you want? Okay, because it is all about you. Now, today's topic is sort of a basic that you need whenever you go into therapy or in a lot of other places in your life, finding out what motivates you. And there's a big reason for you to find this out. One, if you know what motivates you, then it's easier for you to actually achieve what you want in life, to get your goals, to meet them, to get the things that you feel are going to help your life be more enjoyable, more fun, more valuable to you, more vibrant. On the flip side, if you're not aware of your goals, if you're not aware of what motivates you, other people will find out. And then that's when you find yourself in situations where you feel like other people are, either through accident or on purpose, maybe manipulating you or maybe pushing you in a direction that you actually don't want to go, because they're finding out where your buttons are and they're pushing them. So what we do is we break that down and go, okay, why do people do what they do? What is motivation for a person? Everybody's a little different in what motivates them, but it all breaks down to two things. These two things, at least in my opinion, and I have to thank Tony Robbins for this, because it's the first place I'd actually heard it, and then I read more and more about it. Pain and pleasure. Whether you're a single little one-celled amoeba going around doing your one-celled amoeba thing, or whether you're complex like us. Pain and pleasure. How does that break down? You already know that a lot of times when you feel uncomfortable in a chair, you will move to make yourself feel better. It's not, though, that you're moving to make yourself feel better. What's actually happening is you're trying to get away from the pain. What's actually happening in this case is sitting in this way hurts you. The same way as if you go to the beach. Your whole idea of going to the beach for some people is I want to go to the beach. I want to have fun. I want to have a blast. I want to swim. I want to sit in the sunshine. Some people, I want to get away from work. I want to get away from my routine. I want to do something different. So for them, it's a pain. The way you figure out where you're centered at is listen to the language that you use and actually think about what it is you're doing. Is it a goal that you're moving towards, or is it something you're moving away from? What happens a lot of times is when you have the move away from the pain, that's very good to get you out of a very tight situation fast. Like you're afraid you're going to get hurt. You see a snake on the ground, you jump to move to get out of the way because you don't want to get bit. So the pain part, or the pain principle, is very good for fast action in most cases. The problem is, though, you'll only move enough to get rid of the current pain. You won't move any further than that because it's human nature to conserve energy. So you'll move just far enough away to stop what's happening, but you never actually move closer to any goal. So you may not ever actually achieve anything, or if you do, it's just dumb luck. You just happen to move far enough away to fall into something that actually benefited you. On the flip side, if you have a pleasure principle, you're motivated by pleasure, you're going towards a goal, then you see that goal, you want that goal, and you're constantly moving in that direction, even if it's just little bits. You're slowly getting to where you want to go, and you accomplish things. Now, what happens in life is when you sit down and people that are moved by pain, if you could picture a circle in the floor, and then over here is, say, some object. A person who wants that object will move from their circle in a sort of kind of straight line going towards their goal. On the flip side, though, if you're the person who only moves from pain, you may move enough to get out of that circle, but there's no guarantee you're going towards what's actually going to benefit you. And there's no guarantee you'll even move in that direction. You might actually move away from it just to get away from the pain. Now you ask, how does that come out in life? What does it look like? A lot of people will be in a bad situation for them, whether it's a job, whether it's a person they're with, even friendships, other things, And if they're a person who's motivated by pain, they won't leave their current job no matter what it is they say they want in life. They'll only move out of their current job when it gets so painful that they can't take it. And everyone's pain threshold is different. So what happens is you're in a job and maybe it's dead end. Maybe it's not really getting you what you want, but you get comfortable. Now, comfortable is another one of those things that can be very detrimental to you, because when you get comfortable, you don't want to go out of that comfort zone, even if it's painful. So think about it. You're in a job, you don't like the job, or you don't like somebody you're working with, you don't like the customers that you have to deal with this particular job. You don't move out of it though, because you're stuck in that zone of, well, it may be painful, but it's comfortable. I know what kind of pain I'm facing every day. This can get really bad in relationships, because you'll see what'll happen is a person will stay in a relationship no matter how painful it is, because it's comfortable, and especially because they're a pain motivator. The fear of a different situation may be too much for them. So they're going, I know how bad this is. I know he's mean to me, or I know she's mean to me, but only under these circumstances. And you actually start to turn it around and blame yourself. You put up with the pain, but it keeps you from going out and finding something different. And you have to find out what your thresholds are. On the flip side, if you go into a relationship with goals and you have them, you're able to sit down with your partner and go, these are my goals. What are your goals? And then y'all help each other find your goals. But if you're not goal motivated and you're pain motivated, then you're probably going to just sort of stop and put up with each other for a very long time. Okay, so I was talking about comfort, and it brings me to an idea that I had a conversation with somebody the other day, and they said, I'm very tolerant of pain. I can put up with a lot of pain. And it was a bragging point for that person. Now, I understand that in a way that makes you feel tough, and I think it would do the same for me, thinking that, oh, I can put up with a lot of pain, I can persevere. You have to know what kind of person you are, though. If you are a pain-motivated person instead of a pleasure-motivated person, then it can actually be to your detriment. Because if you're pain-motivated, that means your threshold of pain is so high that you can stay in a really bad situation. You can put up with a lot of stuff and never move. Because like I said before, it's comfortable. They haven't went over your pain threshold. So you can see how being pain tolerant while at the same time being pain motivated to get out of a spot can be detrimental. On the flip side though, if you're goal motivated and you can tolerate pain, that means you can put up with people making comments about you, setbacks, a tough time, the hard work it takes to get to your goal, then you're going to get there because you can persevere through the pain. So knowing both of those helps you. Now on the flip side, if you don't tolerate pain very well, then you know you better be real quick to figure out what are your goals, because if you're intolerant of pain, that means you're going to jump from situation to situation with no perseverance towards a goal. So in that sense, as soon as the going gets rough, that tough person you are gets up and goes home, because you're not going to fight through it. You're not going to slog it through at the gym. You're not going to put up with sitting through traffic to get to where you want to do. You're not going to take that hard course because it's too painful for you, even though the goal might be getting you better along the way towards your career or towards things you want in life. So knowing your tolerance for pain, and then also knowing what motivates you, which way to go and how to put up with things. All of this is part of knowing you. And there isn't necessarily a right or wrong. It's a matter of knowing who you are, and you can adjust it. In other words, if you know you are particularly someone who only moves or changes or does things different when it's so difficult, so painful that you want to go somewhere else or do something different, then you have to work on finding goals, defining the goals, and then knowing that you remind yourself on a daily basis, this is my goal. This is where I tell people, write down your goals and put them up somewhere where you see them every day to remind you, this is what I'm doing this for, this is what I'm going for. Otherwise, you'll become that person in that circle who just moves a little bit, but never any further. So you need that daily reminder that this is what I want to do. I want to advance in my job, my career, my life. I want to spend more time with my kids. I want to lose weight. I want to quit the smoking. Any of those things, you have to keep looking at that goal. Where am I going? Now, on the flip side, if you're very goal-oriented, you can go very far, but you have to be careful, because if you're very tolerant to pain and you're very goal-motivated, sometimes you might hurt yourself trying to push to that level. Or you might not be aware of others around you, that you might cause them a little bit more distress than you need to, because you're so centered on your goal. So again, knowing who you are, what motivates you, what you can tolerate to get there. Okay?